So, with that, before we jump in, I want to ask you about the testing as aspect of the secondary competition. That is clear to me. I understand. But what if there is a conflict between what that North Star company model tells you versus what that competition, secondary competition you are targeting has? So then how does the model apply in those scenarios? Tell us what if there is a disconnect. How do you handle that?
What do you mean by that?
Like, for example, let's say that North Star company, you look at the product picture and it really is not a good one. As yet, they are the leader.
Right.
And then you look at the secondary competition, they have a great product, a main picture. So now, how do they connect to each other? Because they're totally different.
Yeah, so that's a really good question. I understand what you're asking now. You're still, in terms of, because when we're talking about that second tier of who you think you should be getting sales from, right? You don't know how they're choosing their product over your product. You're still taking bits and pieces from them as well. I want to make that part clear. The North Star brands, so that 1A, and I keep saying like the Nabisco own, Coca-Cola own, that's just kind of my analogy or description of, you know, the level and size of brands you should be going after. To me, when you're looking at what those brands are doing, I'm really looking for what do they have that is making them, you know, so credible that we could steal and apply to us to make us look like to a prospective consumer that we have just as much credibility as that brand, right? Obviously, we're not going to have as many Amazon ratings as they are because they've been around forever. They have money. Who knows what they did to get those ratings in the first place? It's really going to be in the content piece and the language and the SEO of it, right? So how are they portraying that they are credible? Is it by saying that we abide by this diet? Is it by saying we've been featured in this, we're approved by that, we're showing this influencer in our listing? I want to mimic that to build more credibility to my brands as emerging brands, right, who don't have that unlimited budget that they have. Now, the second tier of brands, right, that's a different ballgame, right? Because they probably have a similar budget to what we're working with. So they can't play that same game that those huge brands are playing. So you're taking different pieces from those different categories. The lower tier, it's going to be a lot more, you know, honing in on, for us in food and beverage, it'll be specific ingredients. I keep saying diets, I keep saying recipes, I keep saying, you know, that's the kind of things you're going to be taking from that second tier. That's going to be more niche, obviously, from the larger group. The larger group is how do we apply what they are portraying on Amazon to be more credible? The second tier is more like, are we covering our bases? Who's focusing on what of these brands? And of these brands, a lot of us have the same things in our products.
Okay, I understand. So it's not necessarily one is modeled after the other. What you are doing is, it's kind of like what I usually do if I'm building a product, and usually it's software related or process, something like that. So I study all the competition and I look at the best ones, I look at anybody I know, and then I collect everything that I like and I just make it better.
Right.
So yeah, but it has to, whatever I'm doing has to incorporate all the good things plus other stuff that they don't have.
Right.
So that's what I'm hearing you describe as far as the methodology.